To respond to your question about opening your heart, you say you know how to open your heart through giving and through helping. But try. Do you know what it feels like to be sitting next to a friend, or with a companion, or with a friend, or to be sitting at a meal with someone, and to have a feeling that you feel reluctant to share, you feel embarrassed to share, you want to protect it, although deep down you'd like to be able to share it, but you can't. Do you know that feeling?
Yes, I do that.
Okay, so what I would recommend, and this is in response to your question about opening the heart, because you say you know about opening the heart in giving and helping. But I recommend you try to do it in this way, that when you next find yourself sitting next to someone at a meal, and there's a feeling in you that deep down you'd like to share, but you feel you can't, because it exposes you. It exposes your vulnerability. Try sharing it. You see, not all my answers are just go back to being. Some of them are more practical. Not that going back to being is not practical, but some of them are more relative. Because going back to being, in your case, I don't think it will open your heart, or at least not in the short term. In the long term it would, but in the short term, I do recommend going back to being. But I'm giving you something more relative to do, which I think would be a shortcut in your case to making this deep connection. You obviously want to make deep connection with people. Both your questions you've asked me have been about making deep connection with people. But there's something and it's very courageous of you to speak about it. You speak about this closedness of your heart, but you don't want to have a closed heart. You want to be open with people, but you find it difficult. So there's this battle going on in you. You want real friendship. You want intimacy. You want a companion. You also recognize that your heart is closed, and because your heart is closed, you feel lonely. Because you feel lonely, your desire for a companion comes from loneliness. That's not a good place to desire a companion. Because if you desire a companion...
I don't feel lonely. I don't feel lonely. I am alone, but I don't feel lonely.
So, but from the feeling of being alone, if your desire for a companion comes from the feeling of being alone, then if you do get your companion, the companion will somehow appear in correspondence with that feeling of aloneness, and will somehow support it. So although you'll have the friendship, the feeling of being alone will remain in the relationship. So you want to desire a relationship from fullness, from love. It's fine to desire a relationship, but desire a relationship because your heart is so full of love. You just can't bear holding it in anymore. You just have to express it, to share it, to communicate. That's a good place from which to desire relationship.
I don't think I'll get there until I'm dead, because really, I'm serious. Because I don't feel loneliness. I don't say I need someone in my house. I live alone. I would like someone to talk to. I would like someone to share deeply with, as you said. I don't know. Lori knows me. Lori knows me really well. I don't have a problem sharing my vulnerability with my friends. I do, and if I can talk to you, if you're open to hearing, I will share my vulnerability with you. You may have more vulnerability than me, or not be open to hearing it because of whatever place you're in. I have shared my vulnerability in inappropriate places, or with someone that just was too busy to hear it, even if they have the ability to hear it.
Of course, not in inappropriate places. It goes without saying it should be an appropriate place, and this is an appropriate place to speak very openly about yourself, your life. I just suggested that as a way of you're presenting a picture of yourself with your heart closed, not overflowing with love, and you
More
feel
like
that's not
it's
going to
looking
happen
through a
to you
filter.
until you die. That thought alone is an expression of this closeness. It's a way your mind has reconciled this closeness with your life. But I don't think you really believe that. It's like a defense. It's a defense mechanism of your mind.
Yes, I think so. I agree. I'll have to explore this. I'll have to explore this where I'm still defended. And I think defenses, the defendedness, often comes up as a judgment. That's a way of defending.
Yes, you have a very sharp mind, and your mind is very quick to come up with reasons and explanations and beliefs about not being able to open your heart till you die. Your mind is it's the gatekeeper of your heart.
Yes, and I think I chose that a long time ago.
Yes, it was a defense mechanism, but you may have needed it early on in your life when you were separated from your brother. There may have been good reason for it, but there's now no longer a good reason for it. But the old habit is remaining.
Yes, bingo.
So
Yes.
just try to let that. You've seen it clearly. That's the main thing. So just when your mind raises this barrier around your heart again, just don't believe it.
It's difficult for me because
That's your mind again.
Yes.
Right? It's difficult for me. That's just yet another, your mind finding a reason why it's difficult for you to open your heart. That's a perfect example. Don't go there.
Got that.
Don't even express it.
Okay. When someone else, a person comes to me, as often happens, and they share their vulnerability with me, it just happens to me everywhere. And it is also my work. I can't walk away from that.
No, that's good. It's because the other person senses that you're open and trustworthy. That's beautiful.
Sometimes, though, that leaves very little room for me. You understand? Maybe not. Maybe that's not true because we share our being.
Don't believe what your mind tells you about yourself. It's based on an old idea of yourself. Upgrade your idea about yourself.
In what way, in regards to what I just said?
In regard to the kind of person
in regards to my...
In regard to the person you think you are. What you think you're capable of. How open you are. How closed your heart is.
Well, the thought there was that there wasn't room for me in vulnerable relationship.
If that's what you believe, that's the message you'll project to the other person.
Yes.
Don't believe it.
Yes. Thank you.
There is room for you. It's
Yes.
just a belief about yourself coming from, perhaps some relationship to your brother or something where there were two of you and you were twins and there wasn't room for...
my family.
Your family.
Yes.
Then perhaps there wasn't room for you in your family, but you're not in your family here. You're with it's a different kind of family you're with here. So that's a very good example. That there isn't room for me. You're bringing a past experience with your family to bear on your current relationship when you're met with someone who's speaking openly from their heart to you, and you're imposing on that relationship an old feeling that's got nothing to do with the current relationship.
Yes.